Today I'm going to be doing a transmission service on a 2020 Ford EcoSport with the 2-liter 4-cylinder and all-wheel drive. I was not expecting to be doing this, but we're doing some repair work on this thing, and one of the things we had to replace was the transmission cover, or actually a piece underneath it, but we had to take this cover off, and we drained out some fluid. This thing has 61,000 miles on it. We drained out some fluid and it is really dark. So logically the thing to do is going to be service it. I had a heck of a time finding info on it, so that's why I'm making this video. I'm going to try and cover everything you need to know to do a simple drain and refill of this transmission, which is not a big deal as long as you know what to do. I should also mention, you do not need to have the whole front end off this thing. It'll make the video a little easier to shoot, but this is not stuff that's hard to access. Some of it's tucked in there a little bit, but this is easy to do in your garage, in your driveway, kind of wherever. The only real thing is that you need to make sure you have it level when you are setting the fluid level with it at the end of the service. Pretty basic list of tools here. Of course, we've got our drain pan there. We've got a funnel. I will put a link in the description for everything you need, not regular tools. I might mention what I have, but I won't link that stuff because you probably already have it. But then the fluid, I called Ford up, and Ford says that doing a drain and refill service takes 4.2 quarts. I don't know if I believe that yet because I feel like I already would have had a lot of it drained out, and I do not have a lot drained out. But we're going to find out, and I will also put that in the description. This Valvoline Max Life meets the standard. Ford said that it's the Mercon LV standard, and if you look on the back of the jug, which you probably can't tell in the video, but it meets that standard. Then we've got a 3/8 ratchet, a 1/4 drive ratchet. You really don't need both, but we've got a 3/8 ratchet for this. We've got a couple extensions, a swivel, and a 10mm hex bit, and then we've got an 11mm socket on our 1/4 drive ratchet. So we're going to get going right away here. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the wheel off, which of course I've already done. We're gonna look right in here. Probably never gonna get it in focus, but there it is. So you can kind of see where that sits. And that's what we're gonna crack free just to make sure it's not gonna give us trouble later when we're trying to check the light. I'm kind of doing this one-handed today, so it's gonna be tricky to shoot all this while I'm doing it, but I've just got this right to that fill plug. Cracked it free. That is what we needed to do. So I'm actually gonna just let that sit right there. We don't need to take it out yet. Now we're gonna move under the transmission and pull the drain plug. So if we sneak right under here, right here is our 11mm drain plug. And obviously you want to have your pan right under here, ready to catch everything. And you can see just how dark that is here too. I can't believe it's this dark for 60,000 miles. I don't actually know what the interval is supposed to be, but seeing this, I would recommend changing it every 30,000 for sure and kind of base it off that. If it still is looking dark, knock it down a little lower, but I can't imagine letting it go more than 30,000. Seeing what this looks like. It is almost done draining here, but while we're under here, you can see my ratchet and socket, and here's another little spot we can kind of reach through. I think it's easiest to kind of feed it through just like I did, but technically you could sneak in underneath here. Also, if I was on a lift, that would maybe be a little bit more desirable, but seeing as how it's sitting on the floor here, this is the way I chose to do it. I am gonna just reach in there though by hand, just through here to take that all the way out to check the fluid level. We're down to just a dribble, so I'm gonna put the fill plug or the drain plug back in here. I was unable to find the torque spec for the drain plug. I'm gonna still look and see if I can put that in the description, but it is a small plug and I'm not gonna crank it down particularly tight. Once we've got that drain plug back in, we're gonna move up top and we're gonna fill it up. This might be where you have trouble finding the dipstick or the fill tube, and that's because it doesn't have one. What we need to do is pull this vent tube off. There's a clamp right here, and we're gonna put a needle nose pliers on it and release that clamp so we can pull this cap off, and that's where we're gonna put our funnel. Now that we've got the cap off, we can put the funnel straight in there. We're just gonna add the fluid right down the funnel. All right, we've got about 5 quarts of fluid put in it now. Now we're gonna go underneath. We've idled it up to temp. It's shut off again. We're gonna sneak under here, and there is our drain plug. We're gonna reach in there. I'm gonna try to pull that out without dropping it into the pan, and we're gonna drain the excess out. And there it is. We'll get this plug out of the way. Should be pretty close. It actually clears everything, not making a big mess here. I did empty out the pan so that if I did drop the plug in, it wasn't going to disappear. Sometimes people overthink this and they question how exactly long you should let it drain, because down to a trickle is typically what is the exact verbiage used. And if you Google what trickle means, it means a small stream. So if you really want to split hairs on it, we've got a small stream, so I'm going to put the plug back in now. You can wait until it just drips, that's fine. I do not think I have overfilled it by stopping it at this point. So we put that in by hand, and then we're gonna come out, get the socket back in there, and we're gonna torque it down. We've got our hex bit into that fill level plug. We've got the torque wrench set to 25 foot-pounds. So we're just gonna torque it down here. All right, we are all torqued down. So here's our vent tube assembly that we're gonna put back on there, but you can see I've got this clamp locked in the open position. They just automatically lock in that position when you open them. And if you didn't know this, I'll show you a quick trick. I'm not actually gonna be able to do it because I need more leverage than I can do. But if you put a screwdriver in like that, and then angle it like that, you will unlock it. So just like that, it'll unlock and snap back closed. So that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna set this in place and then snap it back closed. So we'll get our funnel removed here. We'll set that aside. And all right, we got that right back on there. And then we'll see if we can one-handed get around that coolant hose and show you. There we go. We've got that locked back into place now. So this vehicle is clearly not ready to hit the road, but as far as the transmission goes, we should be good to go. Now this thing was dirty enough that the owner's probably gonna drive it a couple thousand miles, and then we're gonna service it again because that was really dirty fluid, and we definitely don't wanna be running that in here. So one more drain and fill, I think, will get us where we wanna be.